Okay, so hey guys, and welcome back to another Axel 72 video. And in today's video, I'm going to be giving my instant reaction to Itauma winning via knockout in round 1 versus Dillian Whyte. And so if you are new around here and you haven't yet subscribed, please do so. Like the video if you do indeed like the video, and feel free to join the Patreon as well. There's been a great kind of selection of videos that have come as a result of the Patreon. You can request any kind of combat sporting related content, and I will try my best to get it out there and to deliver it for you. And I appreciate all the support I've had so far with it, and the link will be in the description. Thank you very much. But yeah, to get into this video, we'll start off with that main event, which was a shocking, surprising, to me at least. Some people may have kind of been expecting it. I know a lot of people were saying a Itauma early stoppage was the main kind of prediction, and again, just not really what I expected. I thought that Dillian Whyte was going to be able to make a good account for himself and be able to show his toughness and really try and go out there, of course, coming in great, excellent shape, go out there and be able to deliver a performance that wouldn't be good enough to beat Itauma. I did think that Itauma was going to be able to win via decision. That was my original prediction, but yeah, it was just too much for Dillian Whyte from the very get-go. His jab was not doing enough. I spoke about in my prediction that his jab in more recent times hasn't been able to kind of impose and not really been able to break much of a guard at all, and so it was a very easy punch for Itauma to be able to counter off. He was able to do that on multiple occasions, and then inevitably the power was just there and too much. And again, he showcased his great finishing ability. It seems like his punches just carry a crazy amount of power. Not many fighters have been able to get Dillian Whyte on them kind of Bambi legs. If you think about the times in which he has been knocked out, it's been on kind of one punch knockouts. The Povetkin one, the Tyson Fury one, like I say, them one punch knockouts, and not many people, like I say, have really just found that weakness so early on with Dillian Whyte. Even Tyson Fury couldn't do that, and that, I think, just speaks credit to Itauma. Of course, there was plenty of questions asking if Dillian Whyte was kind of over the hill and everything like that, and perhaps he is. Now you look at it with hindsight, you kind of have to say he is. I don't really think there's much for him that he can go back and be able to do at this point in his career. I don't think the fans are going to be too interested to see him try and make a comeback after this point. And yeah, I think he's earned a lot of money. He's done great in the sport. He's, been a real big name in the heavyweight division. But now I think he should definitely just go and sail away, because he has given the opportunity, which again I have to give him the respect for giving the opportunity to Itauma, but he's done that and he's come up very, very short. And so, like I say, I think he has to give Itauma his fair dues. He seemed annoyed with the decision, but I think it was a fair decision for the ref to stop it. He looked completely out on his feet and stumbled and fell back into the ropes. And so, like I say, I think there isn't anything left for Dillian Whyte, and for Itauma now, he's just gone on and put that epic performance on. And I kind of spoke about that because I thought he was going to win via decision, which, he might have had to rough out. I thought maybe that would kind of make it easier for him to get matched up against other fighters, because they would be able to give him fighters that are, getting just kind of below world ranked and just trying to build themselves up themselves, like a Lawrence Okoli, or like somebody like maybe a Riakpo, or somebody like that, or like a Wardley, or somebody who's just about kind of there, but not quite the elite of the elite just yet. But now that he's gone and done that again, it makes it really difficult to match him, because I think there's a lot of heavyweights in which he beats. I think he beats Okoli now convincingly. I think he beats um, Fabio Wardley convincingly. Again, like I say, I think he just goes through all these guys. So I don't think there is a tremendous amount of opposition in which fans are really going to want to see him in. I think he beats Okoli very well as well. And so, he went and said himself that he thinks Ajit Kabayel and he thinks Joseph Parker deserved that opportunity at Alexander Usyk probably before him, but he is ranked in a good position. So I say that they give Usyk Joseph Parker or Ajit Kabayel, and then whoever they don't, they give Moses Itauma. I mean, Moses Itauma wants to get another fight in before the end of this year. I think he can easily do that, and he can easily headline another event in probably around December time. So like I say, give him. We'll wait and see what happens with Usyk. If there is a path there made, probably will be for Joseph Parker, and so it wouldn't surprise me if it's a Itauma versus Ajit Kabayel next. And it's crazy to see the speed of the progression, but I mean, like I say, when he's doing what he's doing to these type of names, then you kind of have to. And if that's too soon, then that's too soon. But there's no harm, I think, at this point in putting him in with somebody like a Caballero because it just makes sense. But again, there's just very few options in which fans are gonna really be invested in because they just expect a town to be able to walk through these guys now. And so, like I say, he's definitely got the world at his feet. The world is his oyster at the moment. And I mean, I think that, well, I'm hoping that he doesn't get a bit, overconfident. He's a very young guy. When he was having his interview, he wasn't being cocky or anything, but again, you can see the confidence there. And of course, he's coming off a first round knockout. You, of course, got to see it, but there, perhaps might be signs of overconfidence creeping in a little bit, and that might be the only downfall that ever, in realistically, could cause problems to Moses Itauma, at least at this point in his career. So we will have to wait and see. He said it himself in his interview as well. He's got 10 to 15 years left in the sport. There's plenty of time to see more of Moses Itauma, even if he does happen to lose at a very top level. But for now, this is a night which he has to, and probably will remember for a long time. Dillian Whyte made him wait in the ring, but Moses Itauma did not make Dillian Whyte wait in the ring when the fight actually went underway. And so, yeah, to speak about the co-main event now, it was a very tough night for Nick Ball. He remains WBA featherweight champion, but Sam Goodman boxed well. He was very sharp in his boxing. His defensive skills was very much there, and I gave Sam Goodman a lot of credit in my prediction, and I said that his defensive abilities would be superior to that of Nick Ball, and I said he might be able to outbox Nick Ball at times, and he did do that. I didn't think it would be quite as often as what he was able to do against Nick Ball, but inevitably, he definitely caused Ball some problems. Ball, I don't want to see him actually change his game plan and actually try and become more of a boxer, but I think what he did when he started trying to put together his combinations fast, I think that's when he was having his most amount of success. If he'd done that a little bit earlier, he could have won a few more rounds a bit more convincingly. The scorecards were a bit wide. There was a 118 110 in there, which I thought was quite a surprising one. There was a 115 113, which I thought was a bit more fair. But yeah, like I say, inevitably it was a performance from Nick Ball, which he's still going to be happy with and proud of because it was an unbeaten guy in Sam Goodman, who of course came to win and came with an Australian expectation upon him. But still, Nick Ball, he managed to get through it. He didn't get the knockout in which he's been getting used to, but I think that's a fight which he's definitely going to learn a lot from because, like I say, that is probably the ultimate matchup, which is a complete contradiction to his style where he has to be able to box somebody who is a very high skilled boxer, and it's always interesting to see how fighters who are fighting somebody who stylistically is so different to them, how they manage to deal with it. And Sam Goodman probably did box a perfect fight. Realistically, there wasn't really a tremendous amount he did wrong. I just think that Nick Ball did do enough to win, and he threw enough to win. He landed enough to win. I do love the chopping shots, that the downwards kind of angled shot that he throws, and inevitably, like I say, he did enough. And I'm glad that the judges saw it that way as well. And to move on to Filip Hrgovic versus David Adeleye, that was an interesting performance. I had David Adeleye to win, but of course Filip Hrgovic basically boxed his head off. And you know, with the new team, Abel Sanchez, Filip Hrgovic is and now is actually looking like a very good contender in the heavyweight division. I didn't think I'd ever say that realistically. I mean, he's now WBO International and WBA Continental Gold, which is a new belt in which I haven't really heard too much about. But like I say, he is now champion. He's got 2 belts there, and he won via unanimous decision, and he got a knockdown on David Adeleye as well. That 8th round was a pretty wild round. Of course, he got the knockdown and almost got knocked down himself. He has got a great chin, and that's something in which he has proven at a high level here. But yeah, I think his actual boxing ability looked immense. I think that was something in which he always had there. He proved that in the amateurs. It's just his mindset was always the problem. And if Abel Sanchez and the team have been able to sort out the mindset, then he can be a real threat in the heavyweight division, because there's very few boxers in the division that can box that well. And I think you can put him in there with a few good matchups now. I think an FA Jagba fight could be a good fight. Or, somebody like that, like I say, could be a good fight. And I think that definitely does propel him into a good position in the division. I don't think he's quite ready in there for any kind of major matchups as of yet, and I don't think, he was saying the winner of Itauma versus Dillian Whyte. I think Itauma's past Hrgovic, but still, possibly, like I say, an FA Jagba or a Frank Sanchez, or somebody like that could be a good fight for Filip Hrgovic, because I think he could go on to outbox him really well. And yeah, I think David Adeleye got tired, he got sloppy, he got slow, and still tried to show his heart, but he just didn't have enough left in him. If he is fighting somebody like an FA Jagba who knows he can go that distance with a high level of opposition, then I think that's a perfect matchup, to be honest, in my opinion. And we will have to wait and see if that gets, made next. But for Filip Hrgovic, probably the best fight of his career professionally, in my opinion, and really showcased that David Adeleye wasn't quite at the level to be able to get into the kind of the gatekeeper world level type fighters, and that Filip Hrgovic, like I say, is perhaps a new reinvigorated version of himself. And of course, now fans are probably going to be a bit more interested to see what's next for Hrgovic's career. And then one more fight in which I wanted to talk about on this card, of course, Sumi beat uh, Cash Ashfaq as well, and that was a very convincing, easy-looking performance for him, and he looks like a very good talent. But Raymond Ford won by unanimous decision on the prelims against Abraham Nova, which I was surprised to see that was on the prelims. That was a comfortable performance from Raymond Ford. I mean, Nova gave him problems, and Nova gives everybody problems, but I think Raymond Ford dealt with Nova better than what I'd seen any other kind of top level fighter deal with Abraham Nova, and that was what I was expecting. I thought, Raymond Ford at the moment has been looking really good, and I think he is going to cause problems to the elite guys in the super featherweight division. I mean, you've got to remember Nova caused plenty of problems to world champion Shaki Foster. He also caused plenty of problems to highly ranked contender Cortez. So again, like I say, I think there is a real good, future. I don't think the power is something which is going to be there, which, might make certain fighters more willing to give him, a shot and things like that. But I think the skill and the speed, and again, the smart pressure in which he's putting on now, which is, much more refreshing to see than going into a bit of a war like he did with Nick Ball. I think that's what's going to win in fights, and he's calling out all the world champions. I saw that Kakache, of course, who was meant to fight him on this card, was calling him out. Has he missed his opportunity? Perhaps, perhaps. I mean, I know that Sugar Nunez has a fight coming up soon. If he gets through that, then of course that easy matchup is there to be made for matchroom between Ford and Nunez. That could happen. Shaki Foster obviously hasn't fought in a while, but he's been getting called out probably the most by Raymond Ford, so possibly that could happen as well. But I think Ford most likely will get a world title fight next, and I don't see the Anthony Kakache fight actually being rebooked and remade, which is unfortunate for Kakache, but a bad injury at a bad time sometimes does put him, and puts other fighters a bit further back in the queue, and we will have to wait and see. But yeah, that is it for today's video. A great card in my opinion, and an exciting one as of that, which ended off and rounded off, of course, in great fashion with the main event. And I'm very interested, of course, to UFC 319 tonight, so we'll be looking into that. But yeah, if you are new around here and you haven't yet subscribed, please do so. Like the video if you do indeed like the video, and thanks for watching.